Hey guys, it's me, Raina from Snailworks Crochet, and in today's video, we are going to challenge ourselves with seeing how many granny squares can I make in a day. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while, but you know what? I figured today's the day. I am going to do that. It's kind of funny because it's about 1 p.m. right now, and I think I'm going to approach this challenge differently, or I guess not differently than the average person, but I think I am going to properly challenge myself to see how many I can actually make in a day. I don't necessarily think I'm that fast, so it's not going to be a lot, but I have just eaten lunch and I'm going to try doing this in like an 8-hour time period, cut myself off at around 10 p.m. because I think 8 hours is enough to see how many I can make in a day. Also, I'm not really gonna weave in ends because I don't want to. And this is my challenge, it's my video, I can do what I want. I do have a general plan for how I wanna make these granny squares and what I wanna do with them. I'm totally cheating this challenge by using the granny square all-in-one yarn because for the sake of actually completing numbers, that's how I'm gonna be doing it, is using the all-in-one yarn. In between, I might make like a regular granny square, but yeah, I'm mostly going to be using the all-in-one yarn. Some of the granny squares I'm going to make include this mitred granny square from the all-in-one yarn. I've made a couple of these before. I like them. I've made a vest out of them. I want to make more just to try because I want to make more vests. I'm also planning on using the Flower Power yarn to make more Flower Power granny squares. See what I like out of it, mainly because I kind of want to try experimenting with making granny square chickens, and I think this Flower Power yarn would be absolutely perfect for that. Another plan with the granny squares includes, well, this is a half-finished granny square, but basically add maybe a couple more rows and then I'll have your standard granny square. And this is using the Lion brand 24/7 cotton yarn, DK weight. And I have like 80 more of these to make. So that's one of them. That is if I don't really feel like making more Flower Power yarn or the all-in-one yarn. I want to to see if I want to take a break a little bit and make a regular granny square, you know, change things up a little bit. And lastly, I have this yarn that I bought off of Amazon and low-key regret buying, but for the sake of this video, I actually have a plan for it. I'm planning on making a hexagon table runner, which will be finished in the very far future. This is one hexagon granny square, and I've only made one hexagon granny square, so we'll hopefully make a little bit more. So that's my plan for today. And yeah, let's go collect the yarn. This one is used. I think we'll get this one. Then I might try let's reorganize this. Oh, my stuff's falling everywhere today, isn't it? Here is the yarn I laid out. So this yarn I probably will not go through at all, but here is the main yarn for this video. something about my tension today is not working, but oh well. I forgot to mention this in my intro. Another granny square I really want to try making is what I like to call a modern granny square. I actually got this idea from YouTuber Amazingish Grace, where when she did her granny square challenge video, in one of the designs she had, which I thought looked so cool. It's a solid granny square, but you randomly change colors. And I think that could work really well with the granny square all-in-one yarn, so I'm just gonna dedicate one of these skeins to doing that. And maybe I can get way more granny squares out of it. I'm also gonna reduce my hook size to a 5.5. Normally I use a 6.5 when I use this yarn, but considering it's a solid granny square and I can kind of do what I want and the color changes where they are don't matter, I think I'm just gonna do that instead. It's a stress-free way of using this yarn. I can use whatever hook size is comfortable to me, what tension feels comfortable to me. This is starting to look a little stiff. Let me go up a hook size. This is a good size, 4 inches. I think 4 by 4 inches is a good size for a granny square, especially if you want to get really pretty motifs, like kind of like this. So I'll probably tie off here because I want to try making a sweater with this. And I think just because of how stiff this yarn is, I'm gonna have to block it. So it probably is not as obvious with this, like with this first square, but I think we'll have more later. The more chaotic it is, the better it is, in my opinion. I'm gonna continue making more granny squares throughout the day, just kind of at my leisure. Obviously, because I'm using the granny square all-in-one yarn, like my intention is to just bang these out, but we'll see. I took a look at the footage of how long it took me to make this granny square. It's under 20 minutes, so I think that's pretty awesome. I don't know about the solid one, but I'm sure it'll be maybe similar. We'll see. I'm gonna keep working on these. I will get back to you at some point. So here's like a 2-hour update. I've mostly been doing the solid modern granny squares with the granny square yarn. It's super quick, super easy, only 3 rows, and 4 inches is perfect for what I need it for. I really like it when it turns out like this. You can see the randomly changed colors, but when you have squares like this or like this, it's not nearly as fun, but I guess that's the charm of it. I also made a couple of solid triangles as well because I know I'm going to be using it for a sweater and I want some triangles. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if you count the triangles, 11, 12. So I have 12 done so far. Again, you can say I'm cheating by using granny square all-in-one yarn, but no ends, so it's my video. Something I'm realizing is that a lot of these squares are kind of looking the same, especially with the color changes of like, you know, what color comes next, because that's how the yarn is built, obviously. So I'm thinking maybe I should pull from the outside of this yarn because so far I've been pulling from the inside. So let me do that and maybe I'll be a little bit more satisfied with how the colors turn out. So I'm starting to get really tired of crocheting granny squares. My fingies are starting to hurt a little bit, so I'm gonna take a break. But for the sake of my roundup, I have about 23 granny squares done so far. Again, these have been pretty easy, but still, it's 23 granny squares. It's a lot. Because of how some of these colors have been pulling out, like this one, for example, on a couple of the squares, I decided to do some artificial intervention to change up how these squares look. I don't like the knot, but at the same time, it's kind of necessary considering otherwise this entire square is going to be white with like this random little orange piece in the middle. I've made quite a few squares. I'm doing a lot better than I expected, to be honest, primarily because I'm making like just solid granny squares, no color changes, and this square is just 3 rows, so that's why I seem to be whipping through these pretty quickly. Other than that, like, I don't know. My hands are getting tired. I'm also physically feeling tired. It's about after 6 right now, so I've done quite a bit. I have about 20 something squares done. Actually, I'm laying these out right now to see how they look in vest form because I want to make a sweater with them. But we'll see how that turns out because I think it will be cool, especially if I do join as you go with all black. Oh, I didn't get to making any other granny squares, and frankly, I don't think I will at this point. Just because these are so easy, but also because if I do anything else, I will just kill my flow. So I think my goal at the moment is to I want to finish this skein of yarn, and with finishing the skein of yarn, I'll have enough for whatever project I want to work on. So I don't think I'll try this type of modern granny square again with this yarn specifically because it's not coming out as like, I mean, it is coming out randomized, but not as like randomized and aesthetic as I expected. I think in the Amazing-ish Grace video, she obviously picked her own colors and had her own yarn. So that way she was able to kind of vary up how those granny squares are made. If I were to do this again, I would try that. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Like, this is looking pretty cool. So there's that. I just finished this skein. I basically need 3 more granny squares in order to basically have all the granny squares needed from a modern granny square. And then after that, I will probably start working on other granny squares. So I'm gonna have to dig into my other skein. This one I don't want to pull from the center. I want to pull because I still want to use this for regular granny squares. I have such a headache right now, honestly, because I've just been in this room all day crocheting up a storm. I should probably take a break when I finish these last couple, but I made quite a few granny squares, so that's, again, more than I anticipated, but still a lot. I'm kind of dying right now. Doing a lot better than my bandana video, for sure. Yeah, I don't know why this skein is significantly softer than the other one I was working with. It's a little bit weird. Or maybe my fingers are numb, but no, I genuinely think this is a lot softer. You know, although they're so chaotic, and I mean, that's the point, but they are so chaotic. I'm really hoping that the black outline I have planned for this is gonna make it look a little bit more put together and like organized chaos than whatever's going on right now, because otherwise I will be sad. I think this might actually be a different dye lot, but it is definitely too late to go back now, so I'm just going to commit and call it a day.
都是女人，我又不能说袁柏不好。
夫人也是聪明人，想必日后会安分些。
借你的吉言吧。
It's like 10:30. I finished my last granny square. I don't really feel like counting these granny squares now, so I'll wait to do that tomorrow because I'm very, very, very tired right now. Hey guys, it's the next morning. I counted up my granny squares and I had made about 43 squares. I made about 43 squares, which was a lot more than I anticipated. So to be fair, most of these squares are my modern granny square where I did like absolutely no color changes and it was like 3 rows max. So there's that. I will have a video of me putting those squares together later when I eventually do it. And then the other 5 were just the regular all-in-one granny square. In this video, I went through 2 skeins. I cleared 2 skeins out of my pile. This color, it was mostly used anyway, but this color, it was a brand new SKU. So I used an entire skein of this yarn for this video and then some. So, but yeah, I cleared 2 skeins out of my yarn stash. So good progress, good progress. I did have a chance to get to the other squares I had in mind, but I think when it comes to these videos in particular, I probably just had to make the same thing over and over again. So that's what I did. Now with that, I will conclude this video and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and see you next time. Bye!